All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Final Whistle, episode 6. I'm Mark. That's Kyle. Kyle, how we doing? Week 1 of the NFL has begun. How we feeling today?
Hey, I'm feeling good. A little bit, stuffed up, but we're good. We're here. We're here. Show must go on. Got Monday Night Football off in the distance here. May see a little live reaction or something as we get going. As so far, not a good start for me, but we'll see. We'll talk about that probably maybe next week, depending. But here we are. It's episode 6, and we just want to thank Dennis from last week again. Want to thank Dennis for coming on last week. It was an amazing time with him getting to talk Browns and football, Ohio State, and we want to thank all of you that were watching last week with the Dennis being on and all that. We hope you came back. If you did, if you're watching it for maybe the second time, we're happy you're back. But if you've been watching us from the start, we're welcome back. So we are ready to go. And Mark, how are you feeling, my guy? Probably hopefully better than me.
Man, yeah, the change in weather hasn't hit me yet, but Lord only knows when it will. I agree. Big shouts out to our longtime friend Dennis. Um, that was a great episode, and happy to have him on as our first guest. Like I said in the beginning, week 1 of the NFL, we're already entering week 3 of college football now.
Yeah.
Time is flying by, and the news is coming in fast and heavy. That's for sure.
And we got some news we'll break when we get to the NFL, more NFL news, but we're going to start with college football to wrap up a week 2. Excuse me, the week 2, Michigan, Oklahoma. Oklahoma defeated Michigan 24-13 in what was kind of a defensive struggle, defensive battle. It was a back and forth game, and here's what my thoughts on the game were, as I'll give it over to Mark after. But I thought Underwood looked good. He looked composed. He looked for a freshman, as I was telling you, I was telling others, he could easily throw in 2 or 3 picks. He could have thrown, and that would have been game. 2 or 3 picks, gone, whatever. Typical freshman. He stayed composed. And, people are going to be like, oh, not for 24, 150, whatever yards. How can you be impressed with that? It was also the play call. They ran, I think, a little more than they needed to. They should have let him air out. But then again, not making excuses. Then I've never been biased so far in this show about Michigan, so don't. But you see, they didn't have a good O line. O line was hurt. They had no starting tight end. He was hurt. The backup didn't really play. But for Underwood going into that environment, Mark, I think he played really, really. He played up. He impressed me. I thought he impressed when he easily could have gone. That's why I cautioned folks last week. You guys remember? I said I'm not sure what he's going to do, but in the end, I thought he looked composed as ever.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. He impressed me as well, and I know we spoke a little bit about it during and after the game. Um, I do think that the offensive coordinator and the play calling didn't really do him any favors by way of criticism standpoint. Again, a lot of people only want to look at the stat sheet and think that he didn't play up to par.
Right.
But I do think that Michigan and the offensive coordinator. I think they took the Ohio State approach when it came to a young quarterback in a big game, where they kind of kept the training wheels on him, which I don't agree with all of the
Yeah.
time, especially when you're already coming in with a deficit at O line, you're out your starting tight end, and you're going up against a quarterback. In this case, this is where the games differ. You're going up against a quarterback in John Mateer, who I mean, he showed that he's the real deal, and he's been in that
Yeah.
situation before.
Friesman,
Um,
Heisman front runner, possibly after
oh,
tonight.
easily.
Saturday.
I mean, he's a true dual threat quarterback, and I mean, he definitely looked the part. He showed up and showed out. And that's where I think it differs when you have a quarterback that plays that well and that isn't also a first timer. I think there has to be a point where you go down and you start to take the training wheels off and really see um this kid's potential. And he showed it in flashes.
Yeah.
I also like the way that Justice Hayes played. He, I think, played a great game. Um in the role that he was given. I mean, he was kind of forced to essentially put the team on his back for a while with some relatively shaky O line play. Um, and I think he answered the bell as well. I think the future is bright for Michigan. It's early, and this is a day and age in college football where one loss doesn't kill you. You can get two, potentially three losses, especially in a power conference like the Big Ten, where you're still in it, and I think it only gets better as Underwood and the offensive coordinator get on the same page and the training wheels start to come off more and more.
And they got to, because you're going in Nebraska in 2 weeks, which is going to be probably another tough environment. Because Nebraska is they're looking to get up there and get into the CFP as well as Michigan and a couple others. And then you got this is a get right game this week. You're without Sherrone Moore now for 2 games, so it's going to go in. They just named Biff Poggi. He's going to be the interim head coach the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be interesting how they go without Moore. Maybe it opens up a little more without Moore. I don't know. Central Michigan this week, it's got to be a get right game, because you can't. Oh, and there you go, your lights again. You can't turn out the lights. Party's over already. But you can't go in there and expecting to keep the trailers on, because it's conference play. As soon as you get a conference play in 2 weeks, he's got to play, because pretty soon you're gonna have Ohio State coming, you're gonna have Michigan State coming, you're gonna be Washington, who beat you last year. I forgot there's somebody else who's on the schedule. I can't think of the whole schedule on top of my head, but at the same time, it's got to come off. The O line's got to get better, got to get healthy. A lot of missed tackles on defense too. A lot of missed tackles against Oklahoma, and that's got to improve. You had Oklahoma back, and Mateer, give him credit. Dual threat. Look what he happened. And it gives Michigan problems. It gives everybody problems. And I think Mateer looked good. I think he looked good, but I will caution Oklahoma. They need a running game. They really don't have a running game outside of Mateer right now. And when you stop him, he throws, he get hit. But at the same time, you saw a couple plays, Mark, last week or during the game where those picks maybe against a older defense, that's probably intercepted.
Oh, easily,
And
easily, I agree. And I mean, yeah, he doesn't have much of a supporting cast when it comes to the run game. It's kind of like similar to like a Johnny Manziel type of play. It's all going to be on him, and they're going to go as far as he takes them.
yeah, so and Mateer, he's probably we'll get to the Heisman talk as we get closer, but he's gonna be at Heisman type of game, type of or Heisman candidate. We
Conversations, yeah.
yeah, conversation we share coming up, but we will see in the coming weeks. But so well, Michigan gets Central Michigan coming up. It'll be very interesting to see, you know, how they rebound, and it should be a winner. Should not have to stress or worry, because Central just lost to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's got West Virginia. We'll talk about that in a minute, but so we'll see coming up. We'll talk real quick about Ohio State. Wasn't really anything concerned about, but Mark, really quick, how did you think they looked? I mean, can't really judge off a game like that, but 70-0.
I mean,
It was pretty much a laugher. Not
yeah,
really.
it was a get right game. I mean, it was an opportunity to kind of get Sane comfortable, get the offense comfortable. Obviously, um, I mean, when you watch the first couple of drives and you start to see Jeremiah Smith running wide open, you know that the other team doesn't really stand a chance. That's the one guy you can't let open, and he was wide open for both touchdowns. Um, I think it was also nice to see some of the young guys, Bo Jackson, which is a local kid from Cleveland VASJ. He looked pretty good as well. He got some good work. I believe he had over 100 yards and either a touchdown or two. So it was good to see some of them. Good to get some confidence going. The game this weekend at Ohio gets a little bit more interesting as Ohio did hold on to beat West Virginia.
Yeah, that
Ohio
was a
showing
shocker.
that they're not just a BS pushover team, although it should be a route. You
Yeah.
never know. You can't sleep on Ohio the way they played this weekend. It was a very interesting game, and it makes for an interesting matchup this weekend as a night game.
Yeah, and like you said, could maybe a first quarter kind of struggle for Ohio State after coming off a game against Grambling, which is pretty much you're playing a high school team. No disrespect to Grambling, but it's pretty much what it was, a high school team. And I literally turned. I was telling you, I literally turned it on, and I saw Jeremiah Smith score a touchdown. I'm like, yep, that's done. So that's pretty much how it went. But Ohio State wins 70-0 as they get Ohio, and then they get their bye week before going to Washington, which is going to be pretty. Could be that's an interesting game coming out of the bye, going to the West Coast. That's going to be. We will talk about that when we get there. Another big story that happened. How about South Florida? They are leading the CFP lower group conversation right now. Two top 25 wins in a span of 2 weeks. They defeated Florida 18-16 this past Saturday, and Now they got a big one. They got number 5 or number top 10 Miami team on the road. And Mark, if they, I would say, even if they win or lose, I think they're still the front runner for the CFP right now, depending on what happens in conference. But their defense looked pretty good the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're definitely shocking me. I didn't in week one. It's kind of hard to judge a book by its cover, so to speak. I mean, I know they gave Boise State BTA there for a while, but
Right.
you never know if that's going to carry over. And then they walked into Florida, and I understand that it like you're in Florida regardless, but the Swamp isn't an easy place to play. They walked in there and they got the job done. They now
Yeah.
have two top 25 wins in as many weeks. And I've said it before, and I've said it to a few different people. I think if they keep it close I'd say within 2 scores of Miami, they're still the group of five. They're still number one in the group of five teams. I love their quarterback as well. He's a bruising dual threat player, and he's not afraid to lower his shoulder and put the boom on some of these DBs for getting in his way. Their defense is playing some top tier defense,
Right.
and we'll see how they fare against against Miami. I mean, whoever made their schedule, they gave themselves a gauntlet in the first 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and they're really setting themselves up for something special if they can keep this close and or win this game. I mean, I don't even know if I can put it past them to potentially win this game the way they've been playing.
No, you can't because and if they win, they're gonna be top 10. There's no way you don't get them in the top 10. Now, again, we will say this poll does not matter. The real poll matters in November, first or second Tuesday in November. It's when the real poll matters. This is just kind of just seeing where the media thinks teams should be. So it's always a reaction. As I remember going back to when Ohio State last week beat Texas, it was like, oh, they should be number one regardless, and they were. But as again, it don't matter, because the resume, and even if now South Florida's got to be careful because if Florida starts spiraling, then that loss doesn't become as powerful as the loss if they do lose to Miami. It could be, so it's a lot of factors, and USF looked good. I can't wait for that game, and no one had that circled. Now we have that circled. We're gonna be definitely watching that Saturday afternoon in Miami, 4 o'clock. That's
100%.
gonna be something very, very interesting to see. Let's talk about Clemson. They struggled again. All right, they're struggling. They had to come back from behind against Troy as they won 27-16, and that was shaking his head. That was a bad. I don't know. That could be counted as a bad win. You should. Well, Troy in the Sun Belt's not too bad, but at the same time, if you're Clemson, you have high hopes. Everybody's counting on you. Should have took care of business, but you did. But at the same time, it's kind of concerning. You're 1-1 now, and you're still struggling. And you got Georgia Tech conference game this week.
Yep, and not to mention the fact that Georgia Tech not only is not a slouch, but they always play teams close. The fact that you had to pull the rabbit out of the hat just to beat Troy is a concern when you have a quarterback that in the beginning of the year, obviously, you're judging a book by its cover a little bit there, but I mean, he was a Heisman favorite.
Yeah,
I
he slipped down like Arch
I
did.
I I didn't know what to think about when like I assumed obviously LSU has a good defense. But I didn't know what to think about Clemson's O-line until they played Troy. Troy made that O-line look really really bad. And I think that's a concern moving forward for Clemson,
Yeah.
especially when you have Miami who looked extremely good in their opening night. Um I mean, it's a real concern down there. They're all like I mean, you can't do anything without a good O line and Dabo I think is his seat's starting to get hot again, man. If you're struggling at Troy, you already have a loss as it is. You damn near shouldn't have won that game against Troy, in my personal opinion.
Right.
So I mean, what like you better tighten up quick because ACC play isn't easy. All
No.
things considered, it's not going to be easy for them.
In Georgia Tech, they got Georgia Tech coming up Saturday, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Is That's not going to be tough either. That's going to be an easy game, or it's not going to be an easy game because of Georgia Tech. What happened last year? They kind of made a step. They were like 7-6, 6-6, whatever they were, but they still made strides. They pulled
I
a couple
believe so, yeah.
upsets, and Georgia Tech's 2-0. They're waiting for Clemson. This is Georgia Tech's opportunity because they beat Clemson. They're probably one of the favorites to get to the ACC title game along with it. We thought maybe North Carolina be a dark horse, and Clemson, you fall to 1-2. You're one loss away from being done with the CFP. And then questions start going, is Dabble the guy to get him back? Who's going to be does Klubnik continue this, or does he start sitting out to get ready for the draft like players tend to do? So, but no, I agree. There's a lot of concern, a lot of worries about what's going on down there. Because you're a lot of struggle in conference games, but when you struggle in a lot of conference games, that's when people, especially games you should bury the teams. That's when the eyebrows, the alarms sound like, "Whoa, hey, look, this is this. We shouldn't be like this. This shouldn't be the way it is." But now you're 1-1, an okay win. It's a big win, but still, you shouldn't by 9 points. That's nothing. You or 11 points. You still don't. You don't. If you're Clemson, you have high hope. You got to win those
Yeah,
games.
that's a loss. That's a loss for Clemson, even though it's a win on the scorecard.
Yeah, no moral victories as they play Georgia Tech, like we said, 12 o'clock Saturday. How about Illinois? They're kind of gave themselves a challenge. They went to Duke, won 45-19, and that was Illinois sitting pretty. They got a big one coming up in a couple next month that they know they're aiming towards as they've defeated as Luke Altmaier and Brett Bielema doing their thing in Champaign and Mark. I like we said, they could be this year's Indiana before it's all said and done.
Yeah, they're raising eyebrows in a good way. They look good, they look strong. Obviously a lot of people were high on them in the beginning of the year, and they're starting to prove everybody right. As an Ohio State fan and as a homer, I genuinely am getting worried at the fact that they look as good as they do. I know Duke isn't necessarily a powerhouse, but that's not an easy game to win. Especially when you're talking about an Illinois team that historically struggles.
And on the road,
Um,
too.
so I mean, they look to be the real deal, and only time will tell. I mean, Altmaier gave a lot of people problems last year, and he looks even better this year. So
Yeah.
we'll see where they end up. But they're definitely starting to raise the good set of eyebrows. Like, oh, you better watch out for that team, and you better not sleep because I mean they'll give you a run for their money. That's for sure.
And they got Western Michigan this coming week, but it's gonna be very exciting next week. 7:30, a big one against Indiana. That's if they're two undefeated team, that's be a good one to watch as they get going next week coming up. I'm sure we'll preview that because they should be both ranked versus ranked. They both got easy matchups coming up. And another before we wrap up the college football week 2, Iowa State 3-0 defeated Iowa 16-13 in the Cyclone battle. And who would have thought Iowa State 3-0, Kansas State lost to Army, and we got a new firmware Iowa State mark in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, shouts out to you. I believe in the beginning of the year, you even mentioned that Iowa State is a dark horse team. They're a gritty team. They're pulling out wins left
Yeah,
and
I
right.
had a conference title.
Um, they're I mean, they're making us look pretty stupid for even picking Kansas State. Kansas State is not giving themselves any favors either. They just look horrible, but I'm not even going to talk about them. Iowa State looks good. That quarterback, I mean, he's playing the part. He's playing the part well. They're playing behind a good defense. I mean, they have weapons, and they look to be the truth. And with nobody really challenging them, they're definitely the favorite in the Big 12, which has I mean, ultimately been struggling kind of all over the place. You have Kansas State downfalling, you have Colorado kind of up and down, and things like that. Iowa State looks like they could potentially run away with this Big 12 if the rest of the Big 12 doesn't start to shape up quick.
Yeah, they could. Who would have thought? And I still want to know what's going on in Kansas State. They fall to Army, so that's interesting. But no, Iowa State, they're 3-0. They went to Ireland, did what they did last week. Defeated as trying to pull up the standings real quick to see who where they're sitting. As yeah, Iowa State, Arizona, they're sitting right there. So it's very interesting. Big 12 as you beat an in-state rival, which is one of your biggest games of the year. I wish it can be like more rivalry weeks at the beginning of the year, but kind of helps separate, which more eyes on that, which is good. So, but yeah, so they got 3 wins, another one this week. So we'll see how they do this coming week. But we will move on here too, real quick. We're gonna do a couple picks for week 3, as we got a couple decent games this week. We had one on the list. We had Pitt versus West Virginia, but West Virginia did lose to Ohio. So we kind of crossed that off. Or West Virginia lost to Ohio. I'm sorry. They do play
Yeah.
backyard brawl. Still should be a good rivalry as they're kind of bringing back a Rich Rod down there. But we are going to start with Clemson and Georgia Tech as Clemson goes on the road. Noon kickoff. Mark, who do you got?
Um, After the past 2 weeks, I've been kind of going back and forth. Again, I my O line questions have been semi answered with Clemson. I think I'm going Georgia Tech on a last second or a last drive win. Georgia Tech's been gritty. They've been playing good football, and Clemson just, I mean, they just can't wake up. I don't know what's going on with them. They're not playing very good defense, and their O line play is kind of abysmal. I think Georgia Tech's going to give them problems just like they always do when it comes to ACC play, and I genuinely think Georgia Tech puts them out of the college football playoff starting this week and gives them a whole lot of turmoil in a whole lot of bad ways. Give me Georgia Tech by a score.
I don't know. I've been kind of just debating this since this game happened, but I think I'm still gonna go Clemson. I think Clemson's gonna they do get this done. I think they find a way somehow. Georgia Tech, they're young still. Georgia Tech's young, but I think Clemson Dabo's gonna find a way to get this right. As he's a good coach. We could make fun of him for being at Clemson, and after all the success he had, now failing, he's still a good coach. Now, if he does, like Mark said, if he does fall, I think if they do lose, I think Clemson's done. You can knock him off, and then it becomes it becomes Georgia Tech becomes the other ACC Miami. So it could be Georgia Tech Miami for all we know. And Miami's got a big game. If they
Yeah.
lose, then it's all shaken up. But give me Clemson. I think it'll be a close one in that one. We're let's do Wisconsin Bama. I'm gonna go Bama. Wisconsin struggled. They're too young. I don't see Wisconsin keeping it a game after the third quarter. I think it's done by then. But I think Bama rolls. I think the line's like -21 or something like that. So give me Bama. I think Wisconsin. We'll know in a couple weeks, or we'll know a good telltale this week how they look. But I don't see Bama losing. But look what happened last week, or Bama on the road. Never know. But I think Bama at home wins comfortably against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, obviously Bama had a cupcake week this week, but they did score 77 points.
Yeah.
So they kind of got they got Simpson's mojo back a little, and I think that does help carry over. Whereas Wisconsin, they did struggle with Middle Tennessee there for a little while. I think Bama probably wins by at least 2 scores here. I think Ty Simpson gets his mojo back after last week, and they should have Ryan Williams back from his concussion this week. So that's going to be big and put some pressure on Wisconsin's defense, who isn't playing very well. So yeah, I mean, give me Bama. I think Bama probably wins by at least 2 scores. I don't know if they necessarily cover, because Wisconsin is going to play some gritty football. But their quarterback isn't playing well either. Give me Bama.
Hey, that Luke Fickle effect. He's gone everywhere he goes. He's gritty. Ohio State when he became an interim and all that turmoil was going down with Urban Meyer. And then he went to
Yep.
Cincinnati, brought Cincinnati to the CFP. They are undefeated 2-0 in Wisconsin, but he hasn't really made that stride in Madison. Maybe it starts this game. You never know. Saturday, that's at noon on ABC. Check that out. We got Georgia and Tennessee. Big one of the big ones of the week. College game day will be there. I think Georgia. I don't see Tennessee ready yet. I don't know. I don't see Tennessee getting up to Georgia's level yet. Georgia's been good the last 2 weeks. They blew out Marshall. Austin Peay kind of struggled, but it was just because of rain and lightning delays. But I think Georgia defeats Tennessee here, no problem, and move on to bigger and better. They got Bama coming up in a couple weeks, so that's gonna be interesting too. Hopefully, not looking too far ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think Georgia probably wins this one comfortably. Tennessee has rightfully so looking a bit shaky. I think Georgia's gonna be too much too good, and I mean I love Kirby Smart as a coach. He does not lose these type of games very often.
Yeah,
And Tennessee's quarterback I think has a couple of steps to go before he's truly ready. I'm going with you there with Georgia there.
Georgia, Tennessee, 3:30 ABC. Check that out. Another big one, LSU and Florida. As we thought that might have been a big one too. It still is. LSU coming in after defeating McNeese State. Obviously, Florida losing to South Florida this week. I'm gonna go LSU. I just LSU looks prominent right now. They look like the number 3 team in the country. I got Garrett Nussmeier. I love Nussmeier. I hope the Browns take a look at him this coming draft if we don't get Aller or if March comes out. Yes, fingers crossed with their Mark. Um, I don't see. I'm Florida. I think we'll hang around, but I think at the end you got the quarterback play going on better. You got the better defense. I think you got better weapons for Nussmeier. When Nussmeier's on, he's got a good ball. He's got a good ball. Sproul is good. I just don't see Florida winning this one after coming off a loss to USF. But it is college football. Give me LSU with the win there.
Yep, I'm with you there. I think Florida plays a much better football game this week than they did last week. But again, I'm just gonna say LSU, when they have a good defense, is scary, and they got a gunslinger on offense with weapons. They got a good run game. I think they probably win this one comfortably. I think it's a second half pull away by LSU. But I do think Florida plays probably a better game this week than they did last week. I think Lagway looks better this week than he did last week, but I mean that LSU defense is going to be hard to move the ball on, and I think Nussmeier's on a heater right now, and he's got a running game to help him out. Give me LSU probably by at least 2 scores.
Yeah, I don't. Does Florida hang around? Maybe, but they show against USF, which USF looks starting to turn heads and look pretty good. We didn't expect that to happen. We all thought, well, me and him,
Not at
me and
all.
Mark, Boise. So we'll see this week. And then our last one, Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. This is kind of an interesting one. A&M coming off a win over Utah State. Notre Dame off a bye, coming off a loss to Miami. This is a tough one. I don't know where to go with this. I've been kind of going back and forth with this all week, but I don't know. I don't know. This is tough. We got the quarterback play going on. I think A&M goes in there after thinking about it. I think A&M goes there and takes it. I just think A&M, coming off their 2-0, you got the momentum. Notre Dame already played a top 5 team, but now you get them at home. A&M goes in there, they get the win. Notre Dame's 0-2 with the quarterback. It's going to be a little struggle, I think, this year with that, and that kind of knocks Notre Dame out of the playoff, which I think it might have just I think it knocks Notre Dame out of the playoff after 2 losses. Non-conference is hurt, or the not having a conference is hurting them.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go the other way. I think the bye week, probably whatever was ailing Jeremiah Love, should be better now. I think also Notre Dame realizes now this week, that you've got to feature that running game more. Notre Dame is at home in front of touchdown Jesus, and I think they play just a better in a more think they play a more steady game, as opposed to making Carr win or lose the game. I didn't think he looked bad against Miami. I just didn't think he could keep up.
No.
But I do think they moved their game plan back to what it should have been all along. More of a run heavy, ground and pound, power football. And that's, I mean, that's their bread and butter. They're at home. I do like A&M as a team, but I think Notre Dame bounces back and get this win, knowing that if they lose another top 25 matchup, they're pretty much out of here. They can't afford many losses, not having any conference championships or anything like that. So I think they play with more urgency, and I think Jeremiah Love has a big game and wills them to a win.
Yeah, the ring game's crucial, especially if the weather gets bad or something like that. As A&M did play Utah State, as they kind of blew them out after that. But we did not do picks last week. We apologize. We were so excited to have Dennis on, but the week after week 1, because we both had North Carolina, Mark's 5-5. I'm 4-6. So we're around 500. We still don't know ball. We don't know ball. We probably will never know ball because it changes by the week. So
Yep.
we'll count. We'll put these picks in this week, and then we'll start counting. And then if we do have guests, we're gonna try with each guest to try to get picks in and all that. We thought we were gonna do it, and then I'm honest, we forgot to kind of even bring it up because we were just so excited with Dennis there. But so we'll continue week by week with the picks. So he's 5-5. I'm 4-6 going into week 3 of college football. We're going to move on to some NFL, but before we get to some NFL, let's talk some fantasy football. Fantasy football is back for all you fantasy players, and what a week. We got Monday Night Football going on right now. To the side of me is on the TV, Bears and Vikings, 7-3. Last time I checked, they just went to commercial, but what a week. And I don't know. I've had some duds. I had AJ Brown. He was a dud this week. I guess, good coverage or good defensive plan by Dallas, Mark, to cover him. He 1.90. He was definitely a big bust for me. And then a good Kenneth Walker was a bust. He only had 5 points, and good San Fran. He shut him down. And if he would score a touchdown, it probably helps you reel to a win. But I guess that's just fantasy for if you think you're having a good day, and then team just falls apart.
Yeah, the stressors of fantasy football
Yeah,
are back and better than ever. If you had anybody basically from that Bills and Ravens game, you probably won or are close to it.
had
I
4 points.
know, I know Keon Coleman's big touchdown from the tip ball really saved me and saved my breadbasket. But yeah, I mean there were definitely some duds out there that were pretty confusing. Both the receivers in Philly were pretty big duds. Kenneth Walker was a dud. Um, Anybody on Miami's offense was a dud. Miami looked horrible
Yeah, oh,
this week.
Achan got some points. He got the early touchdown, so that kind of helped. He got like 14 points, I think. So that
I
helped.
mean,
But
yeah, you take that, but I mean, once you get out of that, I'm gonna shout out wide receiver U alum Emeka Egbuka, two
Ibuka,
touchdowns, game-winning touchdown, 24 points. Um, I know a lot of people had him staked in as a league winner, and I mean, he definitely showed it, especially with Mike Evans getting a lot of the attention. If you had Egbuka again, you probably are sitting pretty, assuming he wasn't like your first overall pick or something like that.
right?
But he had a big week. But I think it goes to show, and I know we spoke about it in the fantasy football talk earlier this year. Wide receivers, you have a vast pool of them that you could have picked from, and the running backs are few and far between. Derrick Henry,
Correct.
obviously, if you had him, I mean, you're looking real good.
Now I'm
Derrick
kind of
Henry is still him.
regretting my decision after seeing last night go with Barkley over Henry's. I was toying between them. I had Barkley. I picked Barkley in one league, but then Henry was sitting right there, and Henry put up 34 points. Luckily, I was able to get Henry in another league, but it kind of I'm like frustrating. I'm like, damn, I could have had him. I could have had a bunch of other, but I guess Bark still got me like 20 points, so it's not too bad, I guess, but kind of a big difference. I probably would have won me my matchup, but not stressing over here as I don't even know. I probably not even gonna win this one because Minnesota can't keep it stay in the field. So, but it's good. You can't overreact to week one. I mean, they got people asking for trades and all that, but I'm taking a new approach. Don't overreact because you could come out go on a run like I did, like you win like 5 or 6 in a row, and you're in the playoffs. You don't got to worry about it, but. So yeah, and I think some duds for me are not duds. Some good guy or team people that went off. Michael Pittman went off. Danny Dimes throwing to Pittman for the Colts.
Danny
That
freaking Dimes, man.
that was a big one. Purse off from the 49ers. Now, well, what are they going
Yeah,
to
he
do there?
looked good.
Now, what do you do there? Because now you got a situation brewing. We're going to talk about that in a minute. What are they going to do? And I had one too. I had the Rams D. I had Philly D in there, but then I had a bad feeling Thursday morning. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to switch them out. And Rams D, they did pretty good against Houston. Only held Houston to 9 points. Got the last
Yeah,
interception
they looked good.
of the game, and they got me I think 11 points or something like that, or maybe a little less. But so I mean, fantasy's stressful. And if you know people out there, I know most of you watching out there are fantasy players. I know a couple are just learning football, and yeah, because of that it's stressful, and it's like you're actually coaching a team. So you're trying to make moves. You're trying to figure out who you want to play because a guy on your bench can have a good week, and you play him the next week, Mark, and you don't do this all too well. They just don't do
Yep,
nothing.
and he just duds it up.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. But what's one? I think you said it right. One guy that stood out to you from your fantasy. What you're like three. You said right, three fantasy.
Yeah, I'm in unfortunately like four different leagues. I'm giving the big dog of the day to Debo Samuel. Honestly, I think a lot of people were low on him. I drafted him in two leagues. He had a big day.
Uh,
You got Jaden Daniels at the helmet at quarterback over there. He had I think 22 points, and a lot of people, like I said, were down on him, trying to pass up on him, and didn't think that he would do very well in that offense. I still am under the impression that being a number two is sometimes better than being a number one in the league when it comes to the NFL.
right.
And you get the drop off between a number one corner and a number two corner is pretty significant, and that's what Debo is looking at with a loaded offense and a young gunslinger at quarterback. So my big surprise of the week was definitely Debo.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Pittman because we didn't know what the Colts looked like. What they could do with Danny Dimes, Anthony Richardson still sitting on the bench. Then Pittman, we didn't know last year. Pittman was kind of up and down with Josh Downs. They brought Pittman. They got that tight end Tyler Warren from Penn State. I
He looked
he
good too.
Yeah, and now you got a quarterback when Danny Dimes got pretty much got ousted out of the Giants a couple of years ago. And no one he played maybe and you know what they say to change the scenery kind of works. And now look, he's 1-0, defeated the Dolphins. We don't know what's wrong with the Dolphins because they just came out flat. They have a great offense. Well, the quarterback, he's we don't know if the quarterback what's going on with the quarterback. Is the
I
quarterback
mean,
plays?
his brain is a potato soup.
Yeah, he's had a lot of concussions, so he's a couple. He gets one like almost every year. If you all remember, he had that really bad one a couple years ago on Thursday Night Football where he literally was like his hands was it was bad, and he he could have ended not his life, but ended his career. And luckily, he's back, which we're happy for. But we will see what the Dolphins do because that's fantasy points too. But when you got a running back like Achan, who is pretty much was your offense, was hurt, Hill was hurt. They still managed to get some points, but it's frustrating when you see that lineup in the fantasy. It's like Hill got like 8 points, and then you're like, if they only had like one touchdown on somebody, you probably win. It's just frustrating, even when you lose by a
Yep.
point or two. Well, the point could have made the difference.
Yep. The like I said, the struggles of fantasy football are back and better than ever, and I hope you boys out there that are playing got an extra shirt ready to go because I know you're sweating through some of them already.
Oh yeah, and I know a couple people. It's going to come down to tonight. Monday Night Football always comes down to Monday Night Football. As you think you got no lead is safe, especially if there's one big game. It could be a good 30, 40 point game, and you're like Henry, 30, 40 point game that kind of saves you. So the leads are never safe unless you're really up there and you only have like a kicker or
Yeah,
something.
no kidding.
I think or a defense, and I think you're pretty safe, or even a quarterback, unless you have Josh Allen, and then Josh Allen just starts running over the field and
Yeah, Josh Allen's just Josh Allen.
kind of stops your heart out and kind of just from the Bills, and yeah. So that's fantasy talk. We'll try to do that every week, depending on what news kind of breaks or anything throughout the week, but. We do got breaking news though for the NFL as we turn our attention to the NFL before we get into week one. Take Bigsby is going to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2026 fifth round and a 2026 sixth round pick. Came earlier today, right before we started the recording. He's going to the Eagles from Jacksonville. And I thought this was kind of interesting as I read somewhere during the preseason that Jacksonville didn't want that three-headed backfield. Three-headed backfield was either Etienne or Bigsby was going, and Bigsby was the lucky winner who did go to Philly.
Yeah, and it's also an interesting trade by Philly. I know they want to keep Barkley's workload down. And I know they lost a couple of their backs in the offseason, but again you see Howie's back at it. Making trades, getting some good players. I do like Bigsby. I liked him in Jacksonville. I know ETN had a pretty good game in week one, and that's probably why Bigsby ended up getting shipped out. But now he goes and is probably in a better position. He keeps some wear and tear off the tread, and he gets a good old line to run behind
Right.
if needed. So I mean, how he did it again.
Yeah, how he did again, but they got a crowded backfield room as well. They got AJ Dillon, Shipley, but I believe Shipley's hurt. I could be wrong, and of course they got
I
Barkley.
believe
So
he is too. Yes,
little insurance from Barkley coming up for Bisbee. It's a good trade for the Eagles. They're 1-0. They had a big one this week. We'll get into here in a little bit, but here we go. We're going to talk NFL Week 1 and the big one. If you're a Cleveland fan, I think everybody gave it the same reaction Mark did as, yeah, it was a big one. The big loss. Browns lose 17-16 from a kicker, Austin Schmidt. I don't even know how to say his name. He doesn't deserve to get his name pronounced right, but blows a field goal and a PAT, which ultimately probably would have won the game or at least tied it, Mark.
I'm just I'm distraught. The defense played well,
70 yards.
and once again, the Phil Dawson curse comes back to bite us.
Yep.
Phil Dawson, I beg you, please lift the kicker curse that you put on us. I understand you are our best player for a very long time.
Yep.
Please just lift the curse because that guy is horrible. I hope with all my heart they got into that locker room and beat him with bags of soap. Just
She,
beat him senseless.
good lord. Good lord.
Because I like they're chip shots. And you missed them both in the same spot. You missed them wide right. Now, I'm not going to put it all on him. Judy had a big fourth down drop. Tillman had a big drop.
Finn had the backup tight end had a bad drop in the
Yeah,
fourth.
Fannin had a drop. Like we're
Judy,
we're back to we're back to having the dropsies.
yeah,
Judy
we
led the league in drops last year, and he's already got 3 this week.
we knew
It's week
their
1.
we knew the receiving room wasn't going to be as bad, wasn't going to be as their strength, and we saw it kind of play out there this week. Where with everything going on, you got two interceptions that I think the one could have been kind of Flacco's fault, but because of how low he threw it. But the second one, you got to catch that. You got to catch that. The ball's right there. Flacco did good for what you brought him in to do. He did good. He moved the ball downfield, gave you a chance to win. He did good. D was outstanding after the first quarter. They made adjustments, and you really didn't hear from Burrow or the offense again. Held to 7 yards in the second half. We outgained them 327 to 141. And the kicking was just, I don't know. You won the game, and if you're up after that drive, you're what? When they make that field goal, what is it? It'd be 19-17. You stop. You get 3 and out. You stop them. You're not throwing. You're running the ball.
And the drive before that, we had 3 sacks in a row on Burrow, 2 of
Yep.
which came from Miles Garrett. He came, he slammed the door on them, and we miss a damn kick. That kicker is dog shit ass and should never sniff the field again. But
You got,
kudos
yep.
to that defense, and Harold Fannin Jr. really impressed me, and so did Sampson.
Yeah,
I
they
agree
both.
with you. Flacco played a good game. He played his game manager game. He pushed the ball downfield. He honestly didn't have very many errant throws. He made good decisions, but Harold Fannin Jr. and Sampson are my Browns of the day for sure. They looked like they definitely looked the part, and I think Sampson took over that RB1 job. Jerome Ford, you freaking suck. We should have cut you. That pay cut isn't even worth what you are. And I hope you never sniff the field again as well now that Judkins is back.
Well, we don't know if he's going to take our number one. We haven't seen Junkins play, like you said. Junkins supposedly is going to play this week. Or going to the report is going to try and play this week, or is going to. According to Adam Schefter, we'll find out. Practice is actually this Wednesday. They start kind of game prep. We won't know tomorrow, Tuesday, because they're off, but Wednesday we'll know what's going on. So stay tuned for that. As you all know, Wednesday through kind of like Saturday, you kind of figure out who's playing, who's not. Especially start more like Friday.
Call Justin Tucker right now.
He's not coming. He's got that stuff going. He's not coming. He's definitely not coming.
He fits the roster perfectly.
He's not coming.
If
You
you
know
know,
that.
you know.
He's not. He's not coming. It's gonna. You can't do that. I don't know where you go from here. What do you do with the kicker? I don't know what. I don't even know what to do. It's frustrating
If
because
they if they keep this kicker and he loses another game, that means we're tanking for a number 1 quarterback. You heard it here first.
you can't. He can't be on this roster. They have. There's no news when this as of this recording. There's been no news about a kicker. So as of now, assuming unless something breaks between this time this gets released, there's no we got the same kicker, and that's frustrating because look what happened in Pittsburgh. Boswell, the old timer, he just buried a 30, was it almost a 6 yarder to beat the Jets for
Look in
Pittsburgh.
Buffalo.
Buffalo
Prater comes off the couch coaching a high school team at 41
Thursday
years old and
on
kicks a
Thursday
game-winning field goal.
on Thursday nonetheless, and it's frustrating. It's a Cleveland Browns way to lose. It's a way to lose. You had that game won. You're 1-0, feeling good going into Baltimore. Now look. Baltimore's pissed. Baltimore's very pissed after what happened. So they're gonna. Henry's pissed. Henry's gonna. You better pray to God,
Henry
Miles.
might run for a million yards against us.
Outside of
And
Miles, go ahead.
and they have another freaking Justin Tucker at kicker too. That loop kid, he
Yeah,
was burying kicks.
yeah. And Henry made that fumble in that Bills game on Sunday that kind of turned the whole momentum. So when you get that going on, and then you get angry Baltimore team outside of Miles Garrett, someone's gonna get ran over. Henry's gonna stiff arm over, run over somebody. Miles Garrett, and they're gonna come in pissed off because you should be coming in
Denzel
good.
Ward, please stay away from Derrick Henry. We don't want to see you hurt.
Because you come in with that, you're gonna be kind of freaking out. But we'll see. As it's 0-1 versus 0-1. It should be 1-0. It's frustrating because you had this team, you had the game won, and the team didn't look that bad. The team didn't look that they moved the ball better
No.
than what we thought was going to happen. We were wrong. We thought the Bengals. Well, the Bengals did win, but we were hoping we were wrong. We weren't wrong. I don't know where to go. They find a new way to lose every week. They do, and now you got. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. We're all frustrated. If you're a Cleveland fan, I mean, you can't really be frustrating, but you just kind of it's laughable at this point too. Like it's laughable.
Oh, it's a
It,
comedy show every Sunday.
yeah, because now you're 0-1. You're potentially going 0-2 this week. I hate to say it. You're probably going unless for the grace of God, Henry doesn't play his best game, which it could be possible with our line. You're very much looking 0-2 to start the season. And does that team? I mean, we kind of know it's probably what the team wants, but you're 0-2. If you go 0-2, it's pretty much you're done. You're not coming back from that. At least best case should have been 1-1. Now you're 0-2. You staring down 0-2 in the face. Unless you somehow tied, and that would be miraculous. That's a win for Cleveland, but very
Yeah,
frustrating.
no kidding.
It's frustrating. You get this. I don't know. I you just laugh. You find a way to lose. You find a way to lose different time every. I don't know. It's speechless. That's how bad it is. Like you just don't know what to say or.
You can't even answer how like undeniable it is that they're just going to find a way to lose. Like it's never ending. It's just never ending. Now the Ravens are going to come in. You clearly saw that we saw the two best teams in the AFC yesterday night, or
Yeah,
Sunday night, excuse me.
yeah,
Um, like it's clear that the Ravens and the Bills are the two best teams. The Ravens shouldn't have ever lost that game. They have a good defense. They have a great offense. You saw people like D Hop being revitalized.
yeah.
Bateman looks good. Flowers looks good. Henry is still him. I mean, they're gonna dog walk us.
Uh, we they'll somehow come back and win. They'll somehow come back. They'll make this a game for all 4 quarters, and then we'll I don't know. It's very 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 frustrating. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to. This team will never get it right. What's going to get fixed first? The quarterback or the kicking situation? Because right now none of it's fixed, and it's not. And I asked this to a couple people. Nobody knows because you got a
Nope.
quarterback here, maybe one more year if we get the guy we want. A kicker, God knows who's going to come in and kick. I heard this good idea on the radio this morning, on Monday morning, listening to the reactions. Sign a kicker this week. He misses one or two, he's gone. You bring it in just the revolving door until you get to the draft. Until the end of the season, you get to the draft, and then you figure it out. That's not. I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
nothing to lose. I mean, this kid's obviously not ready. He just you cut Dustin Hopkins for this guy thinking he's going to be the savior, and he blew you the game. He blew you the game.
Yep.
So that,
And you saw how everybody interviewed after that game. They were all pissed off. That's going to cause some locker room trouble down the road, especially if he loses us another game and he stays on the roster somehow.
you can't. And I think I just lost fantasy because Aaron Jones already found and Swift just caught another pass. So bless it. But anyways, so so yeah, that's oh well. What are you gonna do? But it's only it's frustrating. It was right there. There. Anyways, that's frustrating in itself. See, I'm getting frustrated. I can't even talk. But I don't even know what you just. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. It's fantasy.
The
But
Browns suck. That's where we're
Browns
at. The Browns
suck.
just suck.
Browns suck, and Stefanski's like the PR, not the PR boy, but he's got a gun to his back, to his head, because he can't really say anything because he's tied. You know, he's tied to what is on his roster, especially with Shador. I highly guarantee is they didn't say it's Barry's pick. I highly guarantee Haslam make that pick. He's gonna make the next quarterback pick next year for who he wants, and they're gonna have no say. And eventually, maybe not this year or next year, but the following year, he's gonna be Stefanski's gonna be the fall guy. Unfortunately, maybe even Barry.
Yep. 100%.
On a sword. Hey, before we continue with the wrap up of week one and get into week two, we got a couple birthday shout outs as for the shout outs of the week slash promos of the week. How you look. Happy birthday to one of our good guys, Aaron. He's a very good friend of ours. We know him for a couple weeks, or for not a couple weeks, couple year, or for a number of years. He's a great,
Jeez.
yeah. That's this football's got me flustered.
That's the
Aaron's
Browns effect right there.
respect everything. But Aaron's a great guy. We watch UFC events with him all the time. Him and his family. Is Caitlin, who I mentioned last week on the show, his sister who bought a house. So they're all great family. Aaron's a great guy. I've known him. I played hockey with him, went to high school with him, and pretty much elementary school. He's one of my good friends. I know Mark. I kind of introduced him to Mark as we've been kind of hanging out on weekends and all that. But Aaron, you're a great guy. I hope you enjoy your birthday. You're an amazing friend, amazing person. We're blessed to have you around. So keep doing amazing, my guy. You know, heard you got a new job as well. You were kind of talking about that last week. So very proud of you with that. And happy birthday. Enjoy it. It's actually this coming Monday. So obviously our show will be done and we'll be recording a new one. So it'll be passed. But happy birthday. I want to get that out of the way
Yes,
as
sir.
well.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Aaron. And we got another birthday, a lot of birthdays this month. Jose he's one of my good friends. I met him through a couple other people. Jose, he's a very really good guy. He's a guy who'll take your shirt off his back to give to you if you ever need it. You know, and I can't say enough good things about him. He's been a blessing just to have just to joke around. I'm in a couple group chats with him. He's joke around and the way he just talks and lights up the room. He's amazing. I'm not gonna say what's else, but he's just an amazing guy. I run out of words to say about him. I'm just speechless because of the man he is and the man he always portrays, and he's always there to help whenever you need him. If it's just to talk or listen or anything. But Jose, happy birthday, my guy! You're an amazing guy. We're very blessed for you, and I can't wait to have you on the show. He's gonna come on the show very very soon. We're already trying to set something up with that. As we say, hashtag fire AB, hire JP. So love about that. So happy birthday to Jose, our
W.
guy.
Jose. Happy birthday, bro.
And if I'd be remiss to not bring up as it's actually today, if you're listening to it on Wednesday or yesterday or whatever, so on, my co-host, Mark. Mark, what a ride this has been. 6 weeks in and more to go. It's been nothing but amazing. And I'm very blessed to go on this ride with you. And I remember just
I
going
agree.
it's been what we thought about this a couple months ago, kind of faded away, and then I remember I texted you. I said, or did I call you, text you, whatever? I said, let's do it. You're like, yep, let's. I think it's time.
Yep,
So,
let's do it.
so it's been a blessing. It's been a privilege to get to talk and talk through this every single week with you. 6 episodes in, and here's to many, many more. I hope you're another year probably wiser and probably dumber, but no, I'm just kidding on that.
Yeah, if this podcast shows me anything, I'm still dumb as shit.
I think we all are. So I can't wait till I get to my birthday in May. I'm sure I'll still be dumber as I am right now. As box rocks, but all seriousness, my guy, it's been a blast, brother. It's been a blast doing this for the past 6 weeks and many, many more. As happy birthday, my guy. Enjoy it, and if you all know him or friends with him, follow him. Send him a happy birthday wish, or even in the comments here on YouTube, send him a little happy birthday, and we look forward to enjoying your day, enjoying your week coming up or enjoying your week and weekend. I'm sure kind of be celebrating a little bit. Can't wait to celebrate with you down the road. But
Yeah, of course. Appreciate you.
as all right, enough with the sentimental crap. Here we go with some more football before we wrap things up. This has been a great show so far. It's been I know
Yeah,
it's happened
and
so fast.
honestly, a great weekend of football too. I will say week one has been um, very exciting. A lot of close games, a lot of last second games, um, a lot of shootouts, but a lot of great defense. Also, it's been all over the place. I can't remember a week one like this in a long time. So football is definitely back in a big way.
Yeah, let's rip the band-aid right off. Well, we got two band-aids to rip off, and we're all gonna know once we say it. Which one do you want to do first? Do you want to do a division band-aid or do you want to do a quarterback band-aid? I'll let you decide.
I say we go with the division band aid for sure.
All right, let's pull that off because it's been frustrating as Steelers win again. Well, Mike Tomlin, Steelers magic. They went 34-32 over the Jets. It was in a very high scoring game. It was a fun game to actually watch. As Aaron Rodgers debuted his first game as the Steelers QB, went out. and excuse me, did his magic. Talman did his magic. Justin Fields looked good for the Jets, but ultimately came up 2 points short. I believe McFolk missed a field goal too, if I'm not mistaken. That probably could have won
He
the
did,
game.
yes.
But Mark, after the Browns, the way they played, you got a division rival who probably should have lost. Win 34-32, and you got a kicker that buried almost 6 yard field goal.
Yeah, Boswell's still out here doing it. I wish the game against the Browns would have really knocked him out for the rest of his career so that we didn't have to deal with him anymore, but it is what it is. Um Steelers defense, they slammed the door when they needed to. I thought Fields looked really good. I liked the Jets offense. Brees Hall had a good day as well. Um, you already see Fields getting comfortable. I like Justin Fields as a player. Regardless of the fact that he played at OSU or not. I liked him even coming out of high school at Georgia. I think he has a lot of promise. I hope that this revitalized his career. He's back with Garrett Wilson. I know there isn't a lot of weapons outside of Garrett Wilson, but they do have a good running game. They have Brees Hall and Braylon Allen. And like I said, Fields showed a lot of promise. He showed what
Yeah,
he can do with his legs. Um, Needless to say, though, Jalen Ramsey is also still Jalen Ramsey. He was talking that talk and he backed it up, slammed the door on them on that last drive, and here we sit. I mean, Boswell kicked basically I mean, some people say it would have been good from 70. So, I mean, shout out to him. Kickers are kicking from farther and farther. If you find a good one, it's getting
especially,
pretty crazy. But
especially
yeah, the Steelers figured it out. Aaron Rodgers gave his little week one magic. We'll see if he can continue that or if he peters out like the old man he is.
yeah, I thought it was good. I was watching that game like Fields. Maybe in Fields, a guy he needs that change of scenery as he kind of connected Garrett Wilson a couple times. Brees Hall looked a little bit better than what he has, and it could be the new coach. Aaron Glenn came over from Detroit, the old defensive coordinator from Detroit, and they look good. And the Steelers are the Steelers. They're always Tomlin. Fun fact for football knowers, or for people that really don't know football that are kind of listening. I know a couple of you are that the Steelers have never had a losing record under Mike Tomlin. It's hard to believe. They've either been even or a winning record, and that's sentiment to a good coach. And you hate Steelers all you want, but at one point you gotta give credit where credit's due. He gets the team even when they lose 2 out of 3 to start the season. They always rally back, and here they are. They always find a way to sneak in the playoffs. 1-0. I picked them. I think that effect's gonna happen.
Yeah, they definitely look good. They were able to score some points. They got DK involved. I mean, we'll see how they do in division play and if they can stay healthy again. They are still an old team, but I mean, they found a way to win per usual Steelers effect.
Yeah, and you can. It's like voodoo. You can't get rid of them, even when they're a 500 team. They're still in the playoff foot when they show those playoff graphics. It's always Steelers are right there. You cannot get rid of them unless they are a losing record, but they have not had a losing record under Mike Tomlin. So gotta give credit's due. You can't say the same thing for the Browns. I'll tell you that much. As
Yeah, no kidding.
as the Steelers do win 34-32. Now we're gonna rip off the quarterback band-aid for most of you. When I bring this up, you're gonna know Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was another kind of stellar performance. Not stellar, but reeled his team to a victory. Defeated the Falcons 23-20, I believe. And hey, they're celebrating. They're celebrating 23-20, a win over a division rival. They had to come down to a last second field goal almost too, as Young Koo missed it. And Baker celebrating.
That young ho not cool.
What could have been with the Browns if Baker if the relationship kind of worked out.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a gritty quarterback and he finds a way to win. The Bucks still have a good offense.
Yeah.
Needless to say, they're just reloading at wide receiver, but on the other side of that, I thought Michael Penix played an exceptional game. You see why the Falcons made the decision that they did. I mean, he's got a piss rocket of an arm. He's got weapons over there. Even when Drake London went out and he didn't have Darnell Mooney,
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts showed up. Bijan Robinson, in my opinion, is the best running back in football right now. I mean, that dude is electric no matter how you get the ball in his hands.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mooney, he was out. London now he's going to be a little hurt. We don't know what's going on with that. He's day to day. I guess we'll find out as the week goes on. But I Yeah, it's just you see all these Baker having success, and you see what they're doing, and it's I would say frustrating, but it's annoying. Like you still don't have his quarterback figured out after getting rid of him, and now look at him. He's probably should win the division unless it's Atlanta, but he should win the division at least sneak in as a wild card, and he's gonna be in the playoffs. And we're pretty much probably gonna be at home unless a miracle happens. And Baker, when he's on, he made Buka. Mike Evans involved a little bit more. And they got Bucky Irving. Who would have thought Bucky Irving last year would have been the number one going into this year, especially with Rashad White. And it's another band aid. Browns fans, you just got to sit there and be like, what could have been? And you're just, I don't know. You're just frustrating with how that goes. But you got to give props again to where Baker, credits due. Baker's making a killing where the new environment.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of those guys that just needed to change the scenery. Todd Bowles is kind of similar to Mike Tomlin in a way where he somehow finds a way to sneak into the playoffs each and every year and will his team um to a pretty good record. He is always in the mix. I do like what I've seen from Atlanta in week one. I do think they can give the Buccaneers a run for their money if they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good young weapons and I like the way they played yesterday. I think that's another one where when they play again later in the year, that could be for the division for a playoff run.
Yeah, because you never know. As it's a young, like I said, it's a young team. I like where Atlanta's going. They're trending up. They got running. They got their quarterback figured out. Looks like they got their quarterback figured out. They got the receivers figured out. Defense is going to come as the season goes on. But they got and their tight end Pitts. We remember Kyle Pitts. He was like a monster guy. And was like, oh, he's be a great guy. Kind of fell back the last couple of years, but if he gets going again, that offense is gonna be hard to stop, especially when you got like one,
Yep.
two, three, four passing options to go. No one's gonna know where they're throwing to, who's gonna get open. Speedshot, he's an every down back. He can catch, he can throw. He scored the first touchdown yesterday, like a 50-yard run. It's
Yeah,
just
and it
it's
was insane. He broke like three tackles. I mean, he's supreme when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield and making something happen.
yeah,
He even blocks well. So I mean, it's going to come down to if Atlanta can get a couple of stops, which they couldn't yesterday. I mean, I like the Buccaneers offense too. They have multiple options and they have people that are hurt.
right.
So I mean, you kind of have two teams in the similar boat there in the division. But I mean, that ended up being an awesome game to watch. Usually Young Hoku is a shoe in to make that kick, but obviously he missed it the other day, and we'll see where that leads them. But again, another one of those last second games in those quarterbacks were dealing.
Yeah, and it was kind of a frenetic type of ending to that game as Yoho Koo missed. It was a bunch of kickers kind of doinking. Bucks kicker McLaughlin missed a couple, hit doink. The Yoho Koo doinked, and it was just that type of week for the kickers. But as we mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, Colts surprising 33-8 over the Dolphins. What is wrong with the Dolphins? We thought the Dolphins were gonna probably, and Mark, you were asking me like we're talking betting wise, like why is the Dolphins a favorite or Dolphins the underdog? And I think we kind of saw when they took the field with Danny against Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's only week one. I'm trying not to overreact, but we already knew that the Colts had a good defense. They've had a good defense for years. They're just always on the field.
Right.
If Danny Dimes can revitalize his career, there are young weapons around him that he can do a lot with. You wanted
Yep.
Anthony Richardson to take that step, and I saw it yesterday. Pittman has always been a surefire receiver. You have Downs, you have AD Mitchell, who had a good training camp, and I mean, he's electric if you can get the ball in his hands so he can get on the field. You have Alec Pierce, who's a deep threat. You still have Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
You have Tyler Warren, who looked insane yesterday. Um, I mean, maybe this is the shot that Danny Times needed, and I mean, you can see why he won that job as of the way he played yesterday.
Yeah. You just It's interesting because we didn't thought okay, man. They had Anthony Richardson there. They don't know what Okay, is who's going to start? They officially named Danny Dimes. So what happens to Richardson? Does he get traded? Maybe not in the offseason or at the All Star or not All Star break, but trade deadline. We don't know, but the Colts came out. It's over. Not overreaction. Week one, the Browns or Colts come out next week and just lay an egg against. They got Denver, so that's gonna be an interesting game. with that. So you just never know. Dolphins, what the hell? We don't know what's going on with the top. They just look out. Is it we? It's hard to even find words for that because you don't know what. I don't know. It's frustrating. At Hill, they're getting upset on the sideline. Waddle getting hurt. Hill getting hurt. HN's the only guy that kind of actually did something yesterday. Other than that,
Yeah,
you're
I
almost
mean
30-point
they
shutout.
can't stay healthy. That's like I think that's their big thing. I also seen a stat that it's been like double digit games since Tyreek Hill's had a 40 plus yard play, whether it's a touchdown or not. Which I mean, that's his bread and butter. He's a big play guy. Waddle after his rookie year hasn't really done much. He can't even stay on the field. Tua, we all know his injury problems. Their defense is injury ridden. And I don't know. I liked Mike McDaniel as a coach. I liked his offensive philosophy. But I'm starting to think that he might not be the guy down there, and they need somebody that's a little tough, more rough around the edges to make some maybe some hard decisions and to get that team back on track because they have talent, but maybe I'm starting to think it's a head coach, honestly.
I thought he'd be gone after last year, but they're keeping him around for some reason. I don't know because they're bringing back the same team or what. They can't when they made the playoffs. They can't play the cold, so it's
Nope.
you can't play the cold. You saw that I think last year, the year before. They went to Kansas City, got absolutely annihilated. They're not a cold team. They're not a team that can deal with the cold. So you're better off not making the playoffs, restructuring, getting a better guy in there who will be all right. Yeah, we're going to the cold. We don't care about the cold. We're going to go in there and win because I don't like you said. I don't think Daniels or Mike McDaniel's the guy because of this, and he's been through it. He's made the playoffs, and he's stuck in his wild card a couple times, so it's kind of giving him some leeway. But at the same time, it's like the Browns. When are you gonna now? It's when are you gonna call it enough's enough when you got to make a decision? Now,
Yep.
like Fancy's gonna be around for a little bit longer, but I think if Dolphins don't make the playoffs, I think Daniels are gone. You can't keep him another year with the same team because eventually the same it's gonna happen again.
Yep, I agree completely.
So we will move on. One more game to talk about, as we're not going to keep you all here with going into every game, as we promised. We're not going to do all games, especially for college and NFL, because we'll bore you. But we're going to do one. So shocker here: Packers defeat the Lions. Well, it might not be a shocker, but defeat the Lions 27-13. And I think it might be a shocker the way the Lions looked, as they just looked out all game, just looked out of sync from the start. The Packers they looked really good, especially with their new acquiree in Michael Parsons.
Yep, I agree. I think personally, I think it showed how much um those coordinators meant to that team over in Detroit. I mean, they're two coordinators. They got two head coaching jobs. That's I mean, that's nothing to laugh at. That's nothing to scoff at. They were two really good coordinators, and I think it shows their absence. I think Detroit will end up being okay. They didn't get a lot of pressure on defense, um, and I think defense is probably going to end up being their weak point. But at the same time, Jordan Love he came out firing. He looked good. That Packers defense looked good, and that was Micah playing pretty much at 40%. They said that it's still going to be a couple weeks until he's playing the full amount of downs that he's supposed to. I think the Packers are a might be a shoe in for that division if Jordan Love can stay on the field and play as well as he did. I mean, he was on a heater the other day, and he carved up that Lions defense. And you still got that running game with Josh Jacobs, which I love. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Matt LaFleur's a good coach, no matter what you say about him and what happened with that whole Aaron Rodgers saga. The Packers just reload at quarterback, and they're going to be good this year.
Yeah, and you saw they got that Matt Golden who really did kind of get into it. But Jalen Reed, who would have thought Jalen Reed 2 touchdowns yesterday or on Sunday? And Jalen wasn't really a top guy last year. It was between Dobbs, him, and Wicks, and then the tight end Kraft, who Kraft did catch a touchdown as well, which kind of brought him to the finish line there. As Jordan Love, yeah, Jordan Love looked good. Golf, now is it? People have been talking. Is it because for Detroit? Is it because Ben Johnson's not there? Is it they still trying to adjust? I mean, it's kind of interesting. You still got the whole team. You still got the same roster, the same talent there. But to go in there and kind of get now it's a week one. Obviously, overreaction. They come out. They got the Bears next week. They could come out and look totally different. But I think it kind of takes a minute, Mark, when you don't have an OC, your OC leads, your DC leads, and you're now you're kind of okay. How are they going to call a game? How are they going to work this way? What's their personnel before you even get settled? It might take a week or two, maybe three, to get settled and kind of play your game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an easy task to lose one coordinator, let alone two, but also Detroit was so used to being the hunter, just trying to overachieve where they were supposed to be. Now they're the hunted. Everybody
Yep.
knows they have talent, everybody has expectations for them now, and it's a lot different the weight of expectations, especially on an NFL team compared to when there isn't any expectations and you get the chance to surprise everyone. It's a completely different game and I think you're starting to see that as well as the effect of losing and having to learn a whole new offense and a whole new defense from new play callers. I think it will take them a couple of weeks, and we'll see where they end up. And I'm sure we'll have a lot more to talk about them one way or the other as the season progresses. But it's just 1 week for them for now. There's going to be growing pains, and I'm interested to see where they end up.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I even think if they do struggle this year, they ain't gonna trade anybody. They ain't gonna trade Goff. They trade Brown. They trade James Williams. James Williams just out of contract, 3 year contract. He ain't
A
going
big
nowhere.
one, yeah,
Laporta. It's maybe if it's a year they gotta just kind of recoup. But I think they're too talented. I think if they don't win the division, they should sneak in as a wild card. If they don't, it's a kind of a leading year. Okay, you're kind of retooling the coaching staff next year.
yeah. You're
They,
still trying to figure it out. They have a leash. They've overachieved for years, and they have a leash to figure it out.
Yeah, so it should be a problem. Detroit should be fighting for the division at the end of the year. Could be, against Dallas or against Green Bay, as Green Bay is getting ready for their week 2 game Thursday night against Washington. That should be a good one. Can't wait to watch that. And then we'll wrap up with the Sunday night game. What a great game that was. Whoo-wee. As we all thought, as we talked about a little earlier, we thought Baltimore was getting in there. We thought Baltimore was going to run away and be a laugher, but here comes Buffalo. Buffalo comes back. The whole momentum shift after Henry fumbled. They ran off like 10 straight points and came back with
Yep.
the win. And that was, I think, I would say testament. I just think Baltimore's just like, get shocked after that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it also shows. I mean, Buffalo plays hard, man. They might not have like the craziest talent that's going to jump off the screen at you at every position, but they have manageable guys at a position, and you got to. I mean, he's generational. I know
Yeah,
people throw the generational tag a lot, but I think it applies to Josh Allen. I mean, he's a big dual threat quarterback. He's got a rocket of an arm. He can make every throw on the field no matter what he does, and the way he's grown in that Bills organization and in that offense, I mean, he's unstoppable at times. And their defense, they're a gritty defense. Their head coach calls a good defensive game plan. I mean, I do agree the Ravens did kind of piss that one away. I mean, you've got a 200 plus yard game from Henry. Lamar
yeah.
looked really good yesterday as well. But I mean, like I said earlier, those are the two best teams in the AFC, I think by far.
Oh, I think.
Um, and uh, and I think you saw that they're going to be forces to be reckoned with, and you can't count Josh Allen out of any game. He showed time and time again that when you bring another quarterback into the same field as what he's on, he's going to show up and show out, and he's going to duel him head to head. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to look better than that other quarterback, and it's going to be about did his defense get the stops or not.
Yeah, and you got he looked like as guys we talk about Mateer in the running. He can run. You get him out there, he can run. It's like they got James Cook, but he uses late. He can use kind of like the tush push the Eagles use. Especially they did that one touchdown. They got him back into it. They pushed him
Yep.
in, and he. But that's what killer. He's got legs. If you break the down contain, he can run for a couple yards and get you to the yardage you need. But so then yet again, Baltimore they're gonna be pissed off coming in Sunday. They're gonna come in against the Browns because that they should have had that game. They should be 1-0. They should be, enjoying this. But now they got a bad taste in their mouth. And Henry's never not gonna fumble the rest of the year. You can probably guarantee on that he ain't fumbling the rest of the year. And I feel sorry for whoever's got to try to tackle him starting Sunday because one of them's probably
Yeah. No kidding.
getting trucked and getting a stiff arm or something. Unless I doubt he'll do it to Miles Garrett, but somebody else on that line or trying to cover him is getting stiff arm. It's you're going to be a pissed off Ravens team on Sunday. But it was a classic week 1. It's game of the year already. Even though we got 17 more weeks to go. That's week one. That's the game of the year so far. We'll see if anybody can contend to that as we get going with the season. So that was a
Yeah,
great week.
I agree.
Great week two is we're gonna do some picks really quick. We got some big picks coming up as we'll start with we think we're going with this Browns Ravens.
They're
I'm going Ravens. They're gonna be too upset. I don't see. I would be shocked the Browns pulled this off, but the way the Ravens played, I just think the Ravens win. There's no way the Ravens.
Yeah, I'll be shocked if the Browns were even close. I mean, we got dog walked last year when we played a pissed off Ravens team. We're 9 times out of 10 we get dog walked again. I'll be surprised if we're in a
Right.
couple scores.
Yeah, Ravens. If the Browns do win, hey, we were wrong. We're happy. We're 1-1. Ravens 0-2, but the way the Ravens played last night. Now their defense is a little concerning, but was that because it could be? Is it because Bills are just that good, or is it because they retired? We'll kind of see how the defense. Because defense looked good outside of that momentum shift. They kind of settled down, and then they just couldn't handle it. And we're gonna go Seattle and Pitt. This was the kind of game we circled because DK Metcalf is playing his former team for the first time. Unfortunately, it's not in Seattle; it's in Pittsburgh. Who do you like in that game, Mark, and why?
I mean, what I've seen from the Steelers, I think they probably pull this one out. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is known for um, giving his guys an opportunity to embarrass their old teams. He did it with Devontae. He's done it with multiple guys in the past. So he's going to be looking for DK early and often.
Yeah,
And I think the Seahawks kind of just have a little bit of figuring out to do, whereas the Steelers are veteran savvy. If they're going to play good football, it's going to be early in the season. And I think they win a close one. I do like Seattle's weapons, but I think Pittsburgh just has better coaching as well, and they find a way to win this one.
yeah. I think with Seattle, you trade away a guy, and don't get me wrong, Seattle's offense is pretty good still. They got Sam Darnold. They got him. They got Sam Darnold. They got the Jackson Smith, Jigba. They got Cooper Cup now, so there probably wasn't really room for DK at that point. I think Pitt's gonna win this one. I think kind of like you said, they're gonna get DK involved. Rogers gonna show in front of the home crowd, home opener. Unfortunately, I think they go 2-0. I don't think Seattle the way
Yeah, it's
if I
unfortunate.
get Walker going. If Seattle gets Walker going, it could be a different story. But they couldn't get Walker going last week, and now you're going to a little hostile environment on the road. You just don't know where he's going to go as Aaron Jones trying to make a play, and he still can't make a play. But uh, so we'll see on that. Pittsburgh, I think, rolls. We're going to go Bears Lions. This will be an interesting game. I'm going Lions. I just think they'll bounce back. The Bears still kind of a younger team, still trying to figure it out, but I think Lions bounce back and get the W.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Lions are too talented. I think they're a bit embarrassed by the way they came out last week. And I think they put it to the fighting Ben Johnsons over there in Chicago. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chicago's got a nice young core. I just don't think that they got it in them to truly stick with the Lions at this point. As JJ McCarthy throws a pick six, as I'm speaking about the
Bears,
Bears, but like I said, yeah, I just think the Lions are too talented. I think they win.
yeah, Lions too talented as it could be a good game though, but I think the Lions convention pull it off. And then the Super Bowl rematch. I'm very excited about this one. Should be a good one. Chiefs coming off a loss to the Chargers. Philly coming off a win to Dallas. Both had some extra rest playing Thursday, Friday, respectively. This is a tough one. I think Philly will. I think Chiefs going too. I think Philly wins. I don't think the Chiefs have one of their star receivers down, and I just I don't see they don't got the firepower as we've seen in the past. I like Philly to go 2-0.
Yeah, I agree. The best Chiefs teams have been teams that can run the ball. Um, I think we might be looking at the Chiefs dynasty potentially being over. Philly looked good in their week one matchup. I know their defense looked a bit shoddy, but at the same time, that's going to get better. You're going to have Jalen Carter back. He knows not to do it, and he's going to be looking for some serious revenge. While Kansas City's defense just did not look very good, especially against the pass. And we all know Jalen Hurts has weapons over there, I don't think you see another dud game from Brown and Smitty over there. Barkley runs rampant, and I think the Eagles win and probably win comfortably. I think there's potential for the game to be close, but at the same time, I think the Chiefs are ended up becoming a bit washed at this point. Their defense is
Yeah.
shaky. Um, Travis Kelsey couldn't seem to get open as much as I love him being a Cleveland guy. He couldn't seem to get open. Their running game wasn't really there. Hollywood Brown is their best option at receiver as Rice is gone still and Worthy is out. So I just don't think that the Chiefs have very many weapons to compete with the Eagles, and the Eagles still have a good defense.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I just think Philly's like Philly's not all there. There's some missing pieces. They struggled with Dallas, but Dallas division game. Dallas looks okay. They can maybe sneak in down the road. But yeah, I think Philly's gonna win it. Go 2-0 Chiefs. They'll bounce back. They'll be in there right to the end. If anything, they'll be a wild card team. There's no way they don't make the playoffs. If they there's no way they don't. If they don't make the playoffs somehow, then that's very very eye opening. But they'll be in there. They'll get even if they start 0-2, they'll be counting
Yeah, Mahomes will find a way. I just don't see him winning this week.
No, I want to, and it's gonna kind of lines up, and they go from there. Well, episode 6 in the books. How'd you like that?
Hey, like I said in the beginning, man, there was a lot of news. Week one was a crazy week. We're
Yep.
already on week three. We're already entering week three of the college football season.
Yep.
There's upsets happening. There's big news happening. I
Yep.
mean, what could you like more than this time of year? Honestly,
Right. Yeah. And we didn't also didn't mention Brock Purdy's gonna don't know if he's gonna play this coming Sunday. George Kittle, he's out for a couple weeks. So that's fantasy implications. 49ers. That's a big loss for your 49ers. Who's what's gonna happen? We don't know what's gonna happen there. We didn't mention that, but and news comes week. We could be talking about another injury once we get back with you guys next week. So it's a
hey, you
fun
never
season.
know.
Yeah, you just never know. It's a fun season, and we're excited to continue this journey with you all. Once again, if Dennis, thank you for joining us last week, and if you're watching from last, you're new, you're like your second time watching, we thank you. Our regular viewers, thank you for continuing watching. Don't forget like, subscribe, so we can get going with this YouTube channel. But don't forget, we're gonna have a couple things coming up in the works that are gonna lead to our 10th episode. We're excited to bring in that some of those announcements coming up in the coming weeks. And then outside of our 10th episode, we have something else brewing that we're gonna kind of highlight, not highlight, but get going and kind of launch in the next couple weeks around the 10th episode as we're looking forward to that. So we're out of here. It's thank you for putting up my raspy voice, trying to my thoughts. But I'm Kyle. He is Mark. We will see you next time on the final whistle.